Some characteristics could affect the safety of the medical device and need to be identified when evaluating hazards. Hazards can be identified from intended use and foreseeable misuse. The characteristics related to safety in both normal and faulty conditions can be used to identify hazards. Hazardous situations can result from failures, random results, systemic failures, or security issues. For each identified hazard, you can consider the reasonably foreseeable sequences or combination of events that can result in a hazardous situation to identify and document the resulting hazardous situations. Once the hazardous situations have been identified, the associated risks should be estimated for each situation one by one. The estimation of risk should be based on scientific or technical investigations, data from similar medical devices already in use, incident reports, or clinical evidence. Remember that risk is composed of two elements: the severity and probability of occurrence of harm. Severity is usually based on qualitative criteria. Probability of occurrence of harm is typically based on quantitative criteria. The probability can also be estimated qualitatively if probability is unknown. The probability can be qualitatively described as high, often, medium, sometimes, low, rare, or unlikely. The system for categorizing probability of occurrence of harm and the severity of harm needs to be recorded in the risk management file. There are several types of techniques to perform the risk analysis, including preliminary hazard analysis, PHA, fault tree analysis, FTA, failure mode and effects analysis, FMEA, hazard analysis and critical control point, HACCP. Preliminary hazard analysis, PHA, is a methodology that identifies hazards and hazardous situations that can cause harm when there are few known details of the medical device sign. Fault tree analysis, FTA, is a technique that identifies hazards and hazardous situations, but also the ranks of them. It even records risk control measures and the potential effects on the end user of the medical device. Failure mode and effects analysis, FMEA, is a methodology that identifies the effects or consequences of individual process steps or components. Each failure mode has an associated effect or consequence. The cause of the failure mode is documented. The severity, occurrence, and detection are recorded to obtain a risk priority number, RPN. Each failure mode is prioritized based on this RPN value to apply controls and reduce the overall risk. Hazard analysis and critical control point, HACCP, is a methodology that identifies hazards and hazardous situations, evaluates and controls risks. Critical control points and critical limits are assigned to each hazard. The risk evaluation is quite simply an evaluation of the risks associated with each hazardous situation. The value obtained from this is compared with the criteria for risk acceptability that has already been defined previously. If the value obtained for each risk is acceptable, there is no need to apply risk control measures to reduce the risk to this hazardous situation. This level of risk is termed residual risk. If the value obtained for a risk is not acceptable, you should take actions or measures to reduce the risk to an acceptable limit. We know that medical products are introduced to the marketplace with only a limited amount of clinical experience. At the time of launch, you may have had a list of potential harms that you may have evaluated during the design process. As more information comes from the market during post-market surveillance, you learn more about new harms that may have been caused as a result of the use of the medical device. Reportable events, complaints, scientific investigations, standards, usability testing, nonconformities, and CAPAs provide information to continuously improve the risk management process throughout the device lifecycle. The next step is risk control. Let's get to it.